Good morning and welcome to today's presentation with Volati and the Introduce Investor Days. My name is Eric Castle and I'm an equity analyst here at ABG. This morning I have the pleasure of introducing Mårten Andersson and Andreas Stenbäck of Volati. And we'll have a 20-minute presentation followed by a short Q&A from me. And with that, I'll leave it over to you.
Thank you, Eric. It's great to be here, and thank you for the invitation. We would like to, for the next 20 minutes, take you through like an overview of Volati, and then I'm sure we will have some questions afterwards. But if we step back a little bit and have a look at who we are, I'm Mårten Andersson. I've been with Volati since 2012 and been the CEO since 2014. I have about 3% of the common shares and have about 1 million SEK invested in our preference share. Andreas Stenbäck, who will introduce himself later, who's the CFO, has been with us since September 19. But if we look out and see what we are doing and what is sort of our business idea, and since inception, when we started back in 2003, we've basically been focusing doing exactly this. We are acquiring stable, profitable, well-run businesses at a reasonable valuation. And then we view ourselves as long-term owners of this, and we have strong focus on value creation. Of course, you can talk hours about what this actually means. We don't have the time today, but I'm going to take you a little bit through what we look like. The first question is, has this been successful? I think this has been extraordinarily successful since inception. If you look at our growth story that we're on together with our shareholders, we've had since start about 30% EBITA growth every year. And if you look since the IPO, end of 2016, we've had an EBITA growth of 19%. So together, shareholders, we are on a tremendous growth story that we would like to see continue. When you grow at that rate, of course, how the business looks changes quite rapidly. But if you want to have a snapshot what we look at right now, we are divided into 4 business areas. And if you start at the sort of the left side of the screen, this is our business area trading, which is about a third of our profits, mainly geared, it's a Nordic dominant player, mainly geared towards sort of construction consumables. You have quite well-known brands there as Habo all around the Nordics, Väggmaterial, T-Emballage, but you also have pure wholesale like in the form of Tomé. Here the fundamentals are strong brands and very, very efficient logistics. The second part is our consumer business, where we have Besikta, who's the leading vehicle inspection company in Sweden, which is a dominant company in that business area. It is also a company called Naturmed Pharma, which is sort of nutritional supplements. Our third business area, Akademibokhallen Bokus, top 230 leading consumer brands in Sweden, 2 million clients in our stores and in our online sales. About 50% in stores, about 50% online sales in this business area. And the last is our industry grouping, which these companies are typically product leaders in their niche. 2 of them have quite a large international presence. We have helped them take their products out in the European markets. That's Coventa and Tunum. And then we have an infrastructure play with Sankt Eriks and a fantastic labeling business in Etiketto Printcom. So this is what we look like at the moment. If we look at our numbers, we've had a very good start of the year. We reported 17th of July our numbers, and our sales is now about 7 billion SEK, and that produces an EBITA profit of 589 million. I think what is quite exceptional this year is that we produce an absolutely fantastic cash flow, 802 million SEK in operating cash flow. The Volati business has always generated a lot of cash. I think given the COVID-19 pandemic and the situation during the first half of the year, we focused a lot on that, and you see the results of the cash that we can actually produce when we put full focus on that. These strong numbers gives us a very low debt ratio, and our net debt to EBITA today is 1.3 times. Of course, this gives us all the possibilities to execute on opportunities in the M&A market that might occur. I've got to focus in a little bit, very briefly, on the second quarter. This is, of course, a quarter that's very dominated by the pandemic and everything around it. We delivered great results. We grew our sales. Our EBITA is up 41% to 108 million. So overall, after quite a interesting and very, very intensive quarter, we are coming around and delivering fantastic numbers. And I think that says a lot about the resilience of our businesses, the resilience of our position in the markets, and actually about the managed teams that we have that have been able to take us through this. If we zoom in a little bit on that, I think what is very, very pleasing to us is that a lot of that profit increase actually comes to the shareholders. How our capital structure, what it looks like today, is that a lot of the extra profit as Volati grows ends up with our shareholders, and actually our earnings per share grew with an extraordinary 129%. And as we said before, operating cash flow very, very strong, and overall a great company. People ask me, didn't you get affected by the pandemic? We got very affected by the pandemic. We are in a lot of different businesses. We have sourcing from Asia. We run a retail network. We have businesses that actually source from Italy and deliver in Russia. So of course, there's been a lot of pressure on the businesses, but I'm very proud of how we and our management teams have delivered and been able to solve that and actually gain position during this second quarter. We also executed on an add-on acquisition to Etiketto Pinco, which is Benelli, which I'm very pleased with. During a few months, we actually paused our M&A activity. Stopped. Andreas will talk a little bit about that. But when we reactivated, we were still in a strong position to start executing, and which is quite pleasing. So how do we create these results? And we don't have a lot of time to talk it through. Of course, the fundamentals and how we create values has actually a lot at the point of acquisition. I think Andreas would take us through that a little bit later, how we create value at the point of acquisition. When we own the businesses, we basically, as owners, as active owners, focus on three main areas. Strategic direction, quite easy. If you have this well-run business, strong market position that you just have acquired, what do you do to create value? And here, I think the common or most important word is that it's a common view between us and the management. And we spent a lot of time, I would say the first 6 to 12 months, to set that direction. Then I think we can help our mid-sized businesses a lot with ensuring that they have the right board and the right management in place. Now, we'll talk a little bit more on that on the next slide, but this is a core value add that we have as active owners to our businesses. The third portion is what I call operational efficiency. And during the second quarter this year, particularly, we've helped really our businesses to keep the pressure up and addressing those issues you have. So you can't do one of these three things and good at it. You have to do all of them at the same time and make sure that you deliver on them. I think Volati has done that exceptionally well over the years. And as you have seen, we produce a lot of cash flow, and the question we always ask is, how do we actually reinvest that cash flow in the best possible way to generate the best returns for you, for our shareholders? And that we can do through reinvesting in our businesses, but also through new acquisitions. I wanted to talk a little bit about what we can do as owners to our businesses. And if you look at a growth rate of 30%, the actual challenge or bottleneck is access to good management and good people. I think we realized this quite a number of years ago. And today we work very, very systematic with that. And we have 4 areas to make sure that we have the right people in place today, but more importantly, in 3 to 5 years when we're twice as large. We have something we call Volati Management Program, which are for young talent that have worked a few years, typically with business consultants or bankers that want to actually come into operations and have a chance to become the CEOs of a subsidiary. We've run that for 3 to 4 years now, and I'm very pleased. We have what we call Volati Academy for existing management teams to make sure that we have a common view on how businesses are supposed to run. To make sure we have the right boards in our businesses, we have something we call Volati Board Academy. We meet up twice a year. And to ensure culture and proudness of being part of the group, we run a Volati management meeting for all leaders every second year. I'm now going to hand over to Andreas, who's going to take us through a little bit the financials and the acquisitions.
So, hi everyone. Yeah, just spending a couple of minutes on our M&A agenda and M&A work. Starting with this, as Mårten told us, we had a very strong operational cash flow over the last 12 months, which of course puts us in a very good position with regards to M&A. The net debt to EBITDA ratio is 1.3, and if you compare that to 12 months earlier, the corresponding number was 2.4, so we're in a good position. When we're looking or reviewing add-on acquisitions, we categorize them into 3 different categories. Starting from the left, add-on acquisitions. That's where we see new add-ons to our existing business areas and business units. That's continuous work that we do within our business units. The management teams, operational teams are working with it continuously. It's part of their strategic toolbox. They both identify and actually go through with the acquisitions. And that's something that we've seen being very successful in the last 18 to 24 months. I think if you look at what we've done 2019, 2020, we've done seven of those kind of add-on acquisitions. And synergies is an important part of those transactions. We need to identify synergies and then, of course, work with them afterwards. The middle category might not in the short term be as synergetic. It's more about finding new add-ons to the existing business areas. We find companies that complement each other. They might share similarities. And we've done continuously those kind of acquisitions as well. I think T-Emballage, which we did a couple of years ago, is a good example of that, which was added to our trading business area. And then the last category, new platform investments to Volati. That's an area where we're now putting a lot of efforts in identifying these. Typical situations there is where we perceive the risk probably slightly different to the market, which means that we could come into what we believe is a fair or good value. Other situations is where we have complex situations where we can draw upon our previous expertise, our fast decision routes and so forth, and be competitive. Aktier and Besikta to good examples there. So these are just to show the 7 add-on acquisitions that we've done since 2019. It's extremely happy also to show Pisla here, which we did, I think that was announced last week. A very good add-on acquisition to our business area trading. It's a good example of what we want to do. So Pisla is the market leader in Finland with regards to fittings. We own Habo, which is number 2 on the market, and of course together those two will have a very dominant position. We're also getting some additional products, and we're getting access to the Baltics. So that's a good example of what we want to do. Our financial targets, just quickly address those. As you can see, I think we're very happy with the EBITDA growth, well above our target of having an excess of 15%. Return on adjusted equity, I think we're slightly behind there. But if we exclude the impairment of intangible assets, the write-down that we did in Q3 last year, we're up at 18%. So I think we're on a good way there. And the capital structure already addressed there. That I think we are well below our target. So that's something that we need to look into. But on the positive side, I think that gives us a lot of room for add-ons. So yes, just a minute or so to sum it up. We are very confident about our earnings growth. I think we proved that in Q2. We had a very strong growth. And also looking at a longer perspective, 90% annual growth since the IPO and so forth. I think we're on a good path there. We are very proud about and confident about the strong business area organization. I think we've proven that in the pandemic now, that we can work very efficiently through our business areas. And we have also shown that with regards to add-on acquisitions, where we're very successful with that. And then finally, the financial position. I think that enables us in a very good way to continue not the least the M&A path, which we are putting even more focus in going forward. Yeah, I think that's...
Thank you very much, Mårten and Andreas. So you have a target of growing EBITDA by 15% and have surpassed this historically. Yeah. So looking forward, how much of this could come organically from your businesses, and how much would you have to acquire to reach this?
Should I start, Andreas, perhaps? I think the target is actually at least 15%.
Yeah.
I tend to be the optimistic one. I think over the years we've proven we can do a little bit more than that. I think we can continue to do that. We have a strong balance sheet. We have a great organization, and currently we have a lot of opportunities for acquisitions. If you look at Volati, it's an acquisition-driven growth story. We acquire, as I said, well-run, stable, proven businesses. Some of them have some type of organic growth built into them, some less. What we do as owners is that we focus on building that long-term organic growth story. And if you look back, it's been a very important part of what we do. It takes some time. We acquire the business, we set the strategy, we get the management, and then over time we have developed a lot of our businesses in a fantastic way. So we will have solid organic growth, but if you look at the numbers, 15 plus, of course, that's an acquisition-driven, mainly the acquisition-driven story.
So when you're now looking to deploy capital in this market, how are valuations looking and the number of possible targets, and have Corona affected this in a way?
I think what happened to the market was that, in March or early March, of course, the M&A market slowed down significantly. We also paused all our M&A work, so we acted the same way. I think even before summer, we reinitiated the discussions we had that actually enabled us to do one acquisition before summer and one now after. And I think many others have reacted in the same way, and also the sellers have started to be there. So, and what we've seen so far this fall, activities are picking up. I think one important thing for us is that it's building an M&A pipeline. It's a long-term work, so it's not short-term. So that means that most of the discussions that we have right now were initiated 12, 18, 24 months ago, and those they don't disappear just because of the current situation.
Yeah.
If you want to speculate a little bit, it's my personal speculation. I think that where we have been very strong over the years is the mid-sized, privately owned, entrepreneur-owned businesses. And I would believe that some of them would come out after this pandemic, when we come out of the cycle, when people first feeling a bit more comfortable with the results. I hope and believe that we're going to see quite a lot of opportunities there in that market.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and also we prefer situations which are not standard broad auction processes. We are happy to participate in those as well, but if there are some additional complexity to the situation, that suits us even better. And I think this environment that we are in right now benefits us in that way. So having bilateral discussions, one-on-one discussions, identifying situations which we can work on. I think those, yeah.
Yeah. So I think my next question builds on that. So you're not really alone in being an acquisition-driven company. It's quite popular here in Sweden. So how do you differentiate yourself from peers in the industry? How is Volati different?
Should I start? No, I think we've done this for quite a long time. I think for a certain, we've done this for 15 years. I think we have done it well. I think we have a strong reputation with entrepreneurs that want to sell their businesses because they have seen that we take care of the businesses, we develop them, we are good long-term owners. I think we're good with a lot of intermediaries because they know they have a high transaction security with us. So when we say we do something, we actually execute on it. And that takes 15 years to build. I'm not saying that there are not other players that have that, but I'm very confident with our position in that sense. I think that differentiates us. And then I think we have a little bit different view on certain things, at least, on how we create value.
And also, we touched upon us being making add-on acquisitions, and that's to a certain extent that's new for us, and that's kind of brings us also in the bracket of being an industrial buyer. So if you combine Volati in the back and all that value that brings together with us actually being an industrial buyer, I think that's also what we've seen, that it's enabling us to come in and be very competitive in situations.
Yeah, if you look at the last acquisition, Pisla, which is sort of a mid-sized company, it's actually not a Volati acquisition, it's Volati Handels, which is sort of an industrial player in that sector. They know each other. They've sort of been instrumental in that. And I think we see more and more of that.
Okay, and that's also builds on my next question. So Pisla was an add-on acquisition, and you've done quite a few of those recently, but not many platform acquisitions in the recent years. Are you looking mainly at add-on acquisitions going forward as well, or also, as you've said, you have quite low net debt to EBITDA and could probably do a bigger platform? Is that something you're looking for?
I think when it comes to the platform businesses, you never know when they occur. That's quite. We've done if you look on our history, we've done it every 2 years, more or
Yeah.
less. We've done Besikta, we did Långmon Industri, with Akademibokhandeln. We've done them every 2 years. It's very hard. It needs to be the right specific situation, the right company, and the right moment. I'm sure they will come. Exactly when, it's hard to say, but it's an important focus area of ours.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're putting a lot of efforts on that right now. But it's again, we have to be disciplined. So it's not that it's when the situations occur, then we want to be there, and we definitely have room for it. So that's
Yeah. And one more in competition. We've heard from some of your peers that the Swedish acquisition market is quite competitive, and many companies are looking for acquisitions here. Are you looking for other geographical areas as well as Finland with Pisla, or are you mainly looking at Sweden still?
I think a comment on the competitors, the Swedish M&A market has been, it's a professional market for the last 10 years. I think they're professional buyers, they're professional intermediaries. It's sort of an efficient market in that sense. I think we've been able to create a lot of value in that market. So for us, it's not a change. I think when it comes to the Nordics, I think we're more and more comfortable. I think particularly within certain of our business areas where we already have a presence. I think when it comes to specific add-on acquisitions to a business unit, it could actually be outside of the Nordics. Would we do a platform outside of Sweden and the Nordics? Perhaps in the future. I don't think that's the focus right now.
All right.
No, but we are evaluating also opportunities outside of the Nordics. But then it's probably in an area, an industry where we're already existing through a business unit. So
all right. Thank you very much. I think we're up on time right now.
Okay.
So I want to thank you very much for coming here, and also to everyone listening in. Thank you.
Thank you.